Joining us to discuss this is Maciej Pawłowski, Mediterranean affairs expert from Insitute of New Europe. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I would love to start off with some numbers, as the EU saw a record of 1.14 million asylum applications in 2023 alone, the highest since 2016, highlighting, I feel like, the ongoing challenge of managing migration flows recently. But do you think that migration will be the decisive issue for voters in the 2024 European Parliament elections, or will other issues take precedence?
I don't know if it will be the decisive issue, but it will be an issue which is important. We are still far from the numbers from 2015 and 2016 from the great migration crisis. But in the last few years, there were the events in Africa, the coup d'etat in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. We have still a civil war in Libya. That are the impacts of increasing the migratory flow to Europe. And every year the number of migrants is increasing, and the populations of Europe, which are also getting older and older, are more and more afraid. So the security is the topic very important. If it will be decisive, we will see. It's visible in the discourse of Popular Party that they are going more and more right in this issue.
Right, like you mentioned, within the discourse of these more populist party, we do see this being a more and more dominant talking point. Is that a reflection of how they believe the populace has their attention on this particular issue?
You see, the populist thinks that if we establish a wall, if we only block the illegal migration, the problem will be solved. And many people look at this kind of solution and see it's so easy. Why the others not do it? Yes. And that's how they are gaining a support of some sector of society. But you see, as I told several times, we need populists to show the problems which exist in the Europe, in our countries. Yes, but the populist doesn't give a good solutions. So the mainstream party have to think what to do with the migration, and that's not the issue that migration is inevitable. In the following 10 or 15 years, there will be still increasing the number of people coming to Europe because there is a huge demographic growth in Africa. Probably it will stop after 20 or 30 years because also the families in African countries now are less numerous as in the past. But next 20 years we have to use to, and we have to think how to use the migrants in our labor market, what kind of professions they can do, and how to select the migrants which will adapt in Europe and the migrants which will not adapt. Yes, these are the important questions, and that should work the mainstream party reflection in the long term. About stopping the illegal migration, maybe, in my opinion, maybe the solution should be established in Lampedusa, in other parts, in Gibraltar, in Ceuta, Melilla, where come illegal migrants, some kind of professional centers where we will give them a choice. If you are brave enough to come to this kind of centers, okay, you can choose whether you will start a training to achieve the competences that we need in Europe, and that's why you will get the job and start new life, or you will come back to your country. I think this should be the reflection, and for those who don't want to make this training, the policy should be tough. But for those who are open to train and to adapt in Europe, we should have an open arms.
You have mentioned now the surge of populism, and that in fact populism might be quite needed to some extent in order to show some issues that are on hand. Now my question is, because I wonder, to what extent is the rise of far-right parties across Europe a direct consequence of the migration issue, to your mind?
Yes, that's the direct consequence, because we see the increase of the support for far-right parties in Europe since 2015. So it's closely, easily visible that the people are voting for this kind of parties, and we cannot forget that the population of Europe is getting older. The old people, for old people, the most important issue is the security. And they see the young men from African countries. They come to their countries. They are making noise. If they don't have job, they do the criminal activity. That's not the question of their origin. In general, people who cannot find the job, the young people are searching for the criminal activity. In the past, when Europe were younger, it was the issue done by the natives. Yes, now there come the young people from African countries. If we don't have an idea how to adapt them, how to integrate them to our society, we will suffer this kind of problem that they will establish gangs. The populist party, far-right party, say stop accepting the migrants. Yes, and the old people in Europe see it as a solution, but they don't see that they will need the labor of those migrants, because without this kind of labors, the products will be more and more expensive. The European exportation will be not competitive. They will not have people who will take care of them when they will get old, and the construction sector, the building, the flats will be also more and more expensive because of the lack of the labor in this kind of profession. So we have a problem that we have migrants, a lot of migrants which come, and we are controlling this kind of issue in 80%. There are about 20% that we not control, but we also have the problem in labor market with the society which is getting older. And I think that the person who will find the solution to the problem of the old Europe and the lack of the labor market, and find the migrants as the solution and adapt there, should receive the Nobel Prize. I think that we will find the solution, but the European parties must start to think in long term about it.
Right, like you mentioned, these populist parties usually have an oversimplified solution, but they do excel in diagnosing the issue, or at least the perception of the issue. So would you say that this migrant dialogue that is currently going on might be overblown due to the perception of it, or do you think it's actually something that is underlying that needs addressing?
It's underlined that you see, if the mainstream parties are not talking enough about this kind of problem that the native Europeans see on their streets, there come the populists. Yes, but you see, as I can give an example of Matteo Salvini. How things the populists, yes, in the COVID time, yes, there was a hot topic about the COVID, yes, and when the people had fear about the debt, he was pushing the government to establish tough measures. But after 6 months, where the business were suffering, he started to say that there is no pandemic and there is a conspiration of great powers against the business. So you see, the populists can change their opinion on 180 degrees in a short time if they see that the society react of some kind of stimulus. Yes, right. We cannot exclude that maybe after 20 years the populists will start to look for a vote for migrants if they see that there is a huge group who can support them. Yes.
Right. So, like I mentioned, it is
why
very important to not have a knee-jerk reaction to the immediate situation at hand, to not fall into these sort of like a populist rhetoric. Thank you so much for your input and insight. Thank you so much for being with us on TVP World. Appreciate it.
Thank you, too. Have a good day.